Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dicing with Death. Zweihard.
Yo. So I have emerged from the forge for the first time in a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
Was there news or?
There is, yes. As you're emerging from the forge, a very nervous young dwarf who works in the castle itself. The keep itself is like kind of like a gopher, just like cruising around and getting shit and delivering things for higher up people. Comes to you with sort of like shaky hands and kind of like puts a note for you.
Is it sealed or has it been?
It is broken. The seal on it is broken.
Well, who's it from?
It is from Einhard.
Nice. What's it say?
Son of
I guess I
Einhard.
unroll it.
It's actually not from Einhard. It's from one of the people that he left behind at his camp. Although he's writing in the name of Einhard. And
using Einhard's seal or just using some generic black steel seal?
Using a generic black steel seal. But it is from his camp, so it's from him, sort of. The letter says that Einhard has left. Your message arrived a few days after he vanished. The dwarf would try and get this word out to Einhard by sending someone out in the hills after him and his groups, but that the message, it got to the right spot, but he was already gone, and they're going to try and get it to him.
And I've meanwhile been sending out all these voles and moles and weasels and stoats. I don't know what dwarfy critters, what other dwarfy critters there are. Small burrowing mammals. That's gnomes, isn't it?
That's also dwarves? You guys are all small burrowing mammals?
We can't speak to them. We have to tie these little signal beads to their ankles. But they... that sounds, but yeah, it's probably stones on a string arranged and maybe the little carved dwarven runes in them.
Ooh, I like that.
Something lighter than stone. Just little beads. Just so this. Imagine a little weasel running through the hills with this little anklet tag or whatever on it, or a necklace. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I dig that idea.
And I can imagine maybe we get a scene of an orc intercepting one of these things and chopping its head off and eating it.
Yeah.
Like looking curiously at the trinket, but not knowing how to read the dwarven rune script.
Chucking the trinket aside, and 100 years later, some other dwarf comes across it, and it's like, oh my god, Einhard's in trouble.
It's probably encrypted. Like to a dwarf, maybe most dwarves would be like, okay, the Blacksteel clan is calling their banners home. Maybe a mountain dwarf would have to roll some dwarf lore check to decipher a hill dwarf's message. I bet we aren't. It's probably not complicated enough that related clans would probably be able to intercept it and know what's going on.
Okay.
And maybe even spread the message through old channels, through more conventional channels. So we send word around that if anyone sees Einhard, to tell him, to come home. And I think I probably issue the command to I was thinking to seal up Blacksteel Keep and wait for Einhard to return. But I guess we'll just continue normal operations, which probably aren't much, right? Goat herders go out during the day. And dwarf business proceeds as usual.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's make some rolls here.
Some ominous music.
Yeah.
Quite loud.
It's called Dwarven City. It's just pretty intense.
Keep it then. I guess this is what life is like in Blacksteel Keep. Sounds oppressive. I think maybe there is a nervous weight in the air.
I think this is what you've been operating under. Like, this is the condition that you've been working in, feverishly pounding out these weapons.
And I think that's sort of permeated through the entirety of the keep. The rest of the dwarves may not really know what's going on, but they can. Yeah. Are they inspired, or are they a little bit unnerved?
A little bit
anxious?
Unnerved. Yeah, definitely. Dwarves don't like change. Change is not always great for them. War is one thing, they're always ready to go to war, but all of a sudden been all this mithril showing up. The cleric, who's the
Has
younger
word, has
brother.
word gotten around? I mean, this is
yeah.
how is this not going to war? You know, the cleric is forging mithril weapons in the basement. I think this feels like probably like preparations for.
Perhaps, but it's getting a little mystical up in this place. And not that the dwarves don't like their gods, but you know, there's all of a sudden like weird things that are happening. There's reports coming in from the east of the Cyclops wrecking that city over there. You came back with weird warnings about stuff even further in the east. Mithril's popping up in places where it shouldn't have been. Grell have been spotted, but you haven't told anyone about that, right?
No, I think. Well, sounds like some snuck out of the mine. I don't know where they wound up or if other rumors have been coming in. Zweihard himself is probably pretty shut off from these, but the rest of the keep would hear wind if there are any rumors. But the girl that I spot, no one would know except for me
and Ziggy, right?
And Ziggy. I think I told the cleric, priestess,
right,
mother, or she's not a cleric.
Yeah, she's a priestess.
Yeah, so I think it's just a sister, whatever. And I think I showed Dune Hilda the Grell beak.
But that was the Grell beak that you found, not the Grell beak that you killed, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So they don't know about the Grell stuff. So maybe it's not as tense as I initially thought.
Well, maybe. I mean, did Ziggy keep his mouth shut? Ziggy was there for the fight, right? He did keep his mouth shut.
He did keep his mouth shut. Ziggy has not told anyone.
Okay. Then, yeah.
So, here you are, looking around, trying to.
Yeah, I think I'm just up on the walls of the keep. The outer. There's a palisade wall right outside of the main keep. Or is there a tower on top of the keep? The tower on top of the keep is probably where I go.
Yes.
I probably don't leave the keep. I probably just climb up 3 stories or whatever from my basement to get on the roof and look out over the Hemderkoss Hills in all directions. How's the weather, Neal? Are there any storms on the horizon?
Oh, are there? Yeah, there are. You see a very large bank of dark, ominous clouds slowly rolling in.
From the north? Like, do I see them way off in the distance?
No, it's in the ocean. They're not coming from the ocean. They're coming from the east, but they are slowly rolling in.
Of course they're coming from the east. All right.
Shit's not going very well over in the east, is it?
Yeah. Have we heard anything from the priestess?
With regards to?
I don't know. Has she been giving sermons? She didn't stop by the forge or anything? She didn't stop by the forge.
You've been too busy with your own stuff to pay any attention to what's been going on with her.
But she's probably the one interpreting what's going on for the people of the keep would be my guess, right? Maybe. I don't know.
Would you like to pay her a visit?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay. We certainly returned the Thane's bones, right? So I don't know if I would have had to interact with her to do that. Or if I just
you did return the bones, right?
Or did I just return them when she happened to not be in the chapel?
I think it's the sort of thing that you forgot to return them, and now a few days later, after you built all these things, you're like, oh right, the casting bones. I should probably give those back.
Yeah, but I think before I do, maybe I'll do one last casting of the bones. Although, is there any decision I'm about? No, and I guess that would the time to ask would have been before forging all those weapons. Like, is it a bad idea to?
All right. So
anyways,
here you are, Black Steel.
Yeah, is something happening now, or
no? Go ahead and do something. I've got something for you in a bit. But what are you up to?
I think I need to return those bones.
Okay.
If I haven't already, I can send Zweihard. I can send Zweihard to do it for me. No, I'll go do it. I'll go do it. I probably forgot them on a saddlebag in the forge. And I think they may have been wrapped up with the mithril. I can't even remember the timeline of events here.
I think it's the same for Zweihard. I think it's been this like fevered pitch of the last week or so, gathering this mithril, heading home, forging it over and over again until something you like comes out, inventing a new spell, working, and now you're like, what? Where's my shit? Hold on, what's happening with the greater world?
Yeah, so I descend the stairs from the roof, from the top of... It's a stone tower. The keep is stone, right? And there's a wooden palisade wall outside.
Yeah,
So
you head down to
descending
basement level
keep.
1.
Yeah, do I pass many dwarves on the way?
You pass very few. A lot of dwarves are out on this expedition, so the keep's a little sparse.
We said
right now.
there's 100 left out of 300 total?
Something like that.
Something like that? Yeah.
I'm looking for my notes.
So it's probably a little weird here. They bow deferentially to their vizier and step out of the way. So I will head down 2 levels to the chapel, to the temple,
Yeah.
and approach the anvil. Do I see the...
You see Johanna. She's
Johanna.
standing there in front of the altar, kind of just cleaning up right now. There's a few people that are saying some quiet prayers, but she's going around dusting things and wiping them down and polishing this and that. When she sees you approach, she steps away from her duties and walks off to the side of the temple where the two of you can speak quietly together.
Yeah, I approach her and nod. Is she sister or mother?
She is sister. She's not
Right.
a cleric.
Yeah. And in the old dwarven tongue, I greet her. Well met, sister. And I hand over, I've got this bundle in my arms, right? The bones of the first Thane.
She gingerly takes them from
so
you.
maybe we're just on the. There's like is there a cabinet on the side over here that it is stored in? Where is it?
She
back-
keeps
a
them in
back
an
room?
altar. Yeah.
In the altar.
Yeah.
Okay. So we return it to the altar, and I don't know. Did she say anything?
She thanks you for returning them in one piece. She takes a look at them to make sure they're all fine, which they are. And then looks to you and says, did you learn anything?
I nod. I have communed with the ancestors. I feel their presence.
Good.
The Thanes of old watch over us. And I nod.
Good. As it was hoped.
And I suppose I will leave on that awkward note unless she asks specific questions.
She waits for you to start walking away before she speaks back up and says, my father Vizier Zweihard. Or Vizier Father? I'm not sure what the order of operations is here.
This is all much smoother in Dwarven.
So it is.
Maybe. We're all speaking. Anyways.
Yeah. She fumbles over her words for a moment and says, I have been worried as of late. I feel there's something coming.
I look around. Is the what do we call it? Is it temple? Chapel?
Temple, chapel, same.
Same. Is the chapel empty?
No, there are a few people quietly sitting in some of the pews.
She's audibly speaking her concerns to the congregation.
She's speaking them to you on the side. It's possible, even probable, that one of these dwarves will overhear her, since, not super stealthy with your speaking.
I nod and making no effort to conceal my voice. And did she say worried, concerned? You should be. Concerned you should be. These are auspicious times. A storm is brewing in the east.
Yes. I worry we will be caught up with it. The signs have only gotten worse since the Thane left.
Caught up in it? Perhaps. Best then to be the eye of the storm, where the winds are calm, deep underground.
I hadn't thought of it that way.
We will do what we dwarves have always done, what the Thanes of Milfaldur have done. I have called back Einhard from his crusade, and with is there some sort of like who's the god of is there god of travelers or messengers or something?
Ooh, not quite.
Anyway. And God's willing, he will listen to my advice, or he'll heed my message.
Mm-hmm. There's a pause. She nods. Okay. Good.
Are the people share your concerns? People being dwarf, but we're speaking in Dwarven,
right.
So translate in your heads, right?
I have not spoken of my concerns to anyone else. And there's another sign of something in the west, a rising shadow. Maybe not rising, looming might be a better way. But not ominous or threatening like the one in the east.
Have you had dreams, visions? Or is this...
Visions.
Or...
My prayers are deep and answered with the occasional glimmer of something. It's difficult to construe, but I feel like we are caught between two things, two forces.
Is the forest directly west of these hills across the channel? Is that the elves?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And this is... What is this human kingdom here?
Where? To the south?
To the west,
is Mystria.
Yeah. That is Mystria, okay.
Yeah, ruled by the evil red dragon Scoria.
Yeah.
Been impressing them for generations. Scoria made it very difficult to get to Dwarf Academy.
Yeah, we took the long way around, I think, around the Elven lands.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even brokered passage through the Elven lands. I don't know what that's... Anyways. Yeah. I think I'm not sure what to make of Johanna. I'm not... Maybe this is my clerical elitism. I'm a little incredulous that she's had any sort of useful visions.
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of half hoping she would have some actual news from the folk, but...
No, she doesn't have anything. Other than just fears and worries.
Not solemnly. Yeah.
So here is my question to you, Ryan. Mm-hmm. What do you want to do with Zweihard?
I think I'm actually feeling pretty good. I think I've done most of what I said. So I said quest completed or whatever. I mean, I think I'm making the weapons that I wanted to make with this character, right? Mm-hmm. Crafting the items I wanted to craft. I mean, obviously we can keep doing that. And yeah. I mean, and I think narratively what happens is Zweihard is going to... I mean, I don't know where Einhard is, but I mean, I would imagine if he's still alive, he comes home and we figure out what to do with these Grell mines, with the Mithril. I think this is on the politics here over Zweihard's head a bit. And if you want to play through it, he could be involved. Do we tell what's right? Do we tell Tharnum about this Mithril mine? Do we usurp it? I'll leave those decisions to Einhard. At least that's what I'm hoping. Unless I find out in a couple weeks that he's dead and some hobgoblin's pike somewhere. What did you have in mind? I mean, are you trying to wrap this
I'm not
campaign up?
Actively trying to wrap it up, but I'm
saw
trying
that you
to look
and Nick
for a
played
place.
through the Necromancer playthrough.
We dabbled with it for a few hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you still wanting to playtest that character?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So is that still the plan to tie up Zweihard at some point and playtest a Necromancer?
Yes, absolutely.
Is this that point, or do you have more to say?
There's more to say, but I kind of feel like the more to say is something that will come up in a little bit of time. because I believe Zweihard is going to fold into otherworld events, and we will probably have a chance to come back to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Auspicious indeed. Yeah, this seems like a nice, tidy spot to end, actually.
Okay.
A little surprised, but yeah, I mean, leave with that that image of the Black Steel Keep, the dwarves underground at the eye of this oncoming storm.
Having gained all this mithril and made these magical weapons and sort of getting ready to do something great, but you're not sure what, and all these forces are moving around you. And I think I think
we're just arming ourselves and hiding in the hills, waiting to see what comes. Yeah. And sounds like exactly what Milfaldur did, although they didn't have the mithril. They just they got caught up in these cyclopses and just retreated into their underground. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going to happen to Tharnum and Keldaram. Do we hear? So what do we want to do? A post log or something? Like, what happens to is Einar? Does he ever come back, or is he dead? Do we want to find out, or are we going to leave that?
No. We can do a little bit of post log here. Einhard does survive, but much of his forces do not. He is wounded and is carried back to the keep. There are heavy casualties because as they get to, let's actually look at the map, chat. As they get to the point where the hobgoblins and the orcs kind of draw on their dividing line, they realize that the hobgoblins and the orcs have brokered some sort of at least temporary truce to put their differences aside and work together against these dwarves. And so the battle gets a little bit tougher. And then they run into a group of cyclopses, which just fucking demolish them.
Is this in the east here?
Yeah, it's when
Zweihard totally didn't get the message and marched east.
Yeah, by the time your message arrived near Keldram, they were already halfway out into the mountain, out into the hills, battling left and right. And then by the time they finally got the message, they were already retreating back. It arrived just too late to help them.
Yeah. Reinhard, you fool. All right. How many weeks does this take? When would they return?
To return?
Yeah.
They probably return 2 weeks after you send your messages.
Okay. No, so it's probably not much longer. I mean, maybe one more halberd is forged. Maybe we just don't even worry about it. We've got the one for now, and maybe there's some. Yeah.
They do come with tidings that the orcs and hobgoblins are working together now, and that the cyclops are kind of running amok. It's not sure how the cyclops feel about the hobgoblins and the orcs. They've never been seen together at the same time, so maybe it's just going to be an all-out chaos in the Hemdorfas Hills. It's unlikely they would join forces, but strange things are happening right now, so who knows? Okay.
So Einhard is brought back some shortly after this. How many dwarves does he survive with? Is this does he come back with?
He comes back with half, maybe a third at the least.
Mm-hmm. Carried back, wounded himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not great. His vision for an epic war that would make this dwarven land forever has sort of backfired, and great amounts of manpower and material have been lost. Mm-hmm. So,
do we want to say how he'll react to the mithril? What happens with the mine there, or is that for?
That's for another time, I think.
For another time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any news of Grell attacks in the interim? Or does he come back with any?
He doesn't come back with any.
Our goat herders are out and about. Yeah.
Yeah. The Grell will make an appearance.
Okay.
But they will take a little while to do so.
Okay. Before or after Einhard?
After Einhard returns.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll probably pick up Zweihard at some point in the future.
Definitely going to return to Zweihard.
But, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. You want to roll a necromancer?
Yeah, should we do a break to cut the VODs?
Yes. Yeah. We'll go to break. When we come back,
do we need a final XP for Einhard? He just leveled up.
Yeah.
Does he? But he just finished. I mean, Just finished a bunch of quests, maybe, or are the spells and the items their own reward? How far?
Go ahead and take another 2,000 experience.
So they'd be 1,000 each. I don't. Seems good for a level 1 quest. So it'll bring me to 15,000. 382. What is I think next. Oh, I think that is a little short of my next fighter level. Right. Next fighter would be 16.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't kill anything. We just had a half session. Yep. So
yeah.
Cool.
All right. So we're gonna take a break.
Take our break.
Back.
Come back with a new character on the other side.
See you guys soon. Bye-bye.